So it's finally over. It's over for me. The days of working that pharmacy full-time are now a thing of the past. And that's why the pants are different. So, I'm going to adjust you a little bit here. And so now that means that this is what you're probably going to be seeing a lot of. In any case, we're not here to do a reading today, ladies and gentlemen. We're just here to tell a story. Your story. I'm sure some of you were probably about my age. And I can't believe these words are about to come out of my mouth, but in my day, we had these books. And while things like D&D were off limits to me, these books were not. They were called Choose Your Own Adventure books. I'm sure some of you remember them. In fact, they have a different version of it called the Fabled Land series today. One that I highly recommend, by the way, if you're still into that kind of thing. There's like 7 of those books. All you need is that first one to get started. You get that, a couple index cards, 3 6-sided dice, and that's it. Pencil, and you're ready to play. So what's the point here? Well, the book would tell you part of the story, and then you would be faced with decisions to make. Some of those decisions would get your character killed. Others would reward your character. And some decisions would operate to make your character's life a little difficult if you weren't paying attention. And that's how this is going to function. We're just going to tell a story. And then you're going to take that information and you're going to make decisions out of it. Or you'll pass this along to a friend who might need that information. And that's really it. You still have agency in this. None of this predicts your future as fate. So if you're not one to believe in fate, well, got some news for you. Fate exists. We're all going to die someday. We're all going to pass on. That's fate. Now what you do between then and now, that's where destiny comes into play. And you get to decide that. You know how to tell what your destiny is? Just by looking at what you're really good at. What you're really good at doing. What you enjoy the most. So let's have a look and see where destiny is going to lead. Right now, your decisions are going to affect the decisions of many others, so it's important to be very, very conscious and aware of them. Because what you do for one, you have to do for all. Yggdrasil will not drop one realm for the sake of all of them. It will do all it can to carry them all. Does that make sense? Hope it does. Because again, we're being guided along. We're being told to, remember yesterday we were told to face our most grave decisions with honor, courage, integrity, and that's exactly what this is all about. You know, for far too long we've been in this this holding pattern of better to sever a few fingers to save the whole hand. Problem is we don't look for ways to save the entire hand. We don't include every finger. We just think, well, that finger's expendable, and we give it the chop. Never mind, it was a perfectly healthy finger. today is definitely a day of transformation. If you go back and look at the last, we'll say 2 or 3 videos, you'll notice that it was rather dark in here. It was kind of dim. That's because outside, the weather was just dark and dreary. And it had been that way for me for the entire weekend. But now, it's nice and bright outside, it's sunny, it's beautiful. I went out there just a little while ago to take out the trash, and quite honestly, it was a gorgeous day. Kind of wish I didn't have to work, but it'll be fine. But that's the thing. You're looking at a caterpillar and you're thinking, God, that thing's hideous. Then it goes into a little cocoon, wraps itself up, it hibernates, it waits a while, and when it emerges, it's one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen. I'd be willing to bet the tarot bears out that it's time for you to emerge. Let's have a look. We've got the Magician, got an Ace of Swords in reverse, and we got Judgment in reverse. So right now it's time to bring all those pieces of you together. Time to take all your moving parts and make them the sum total and present it. Now, here's the interesting part, because today I felt a real strong pull toward the Tarot of the Divine and the Enchanted Map. Fairy tales again. Folk tales. Tales that tell us where we've been, to help us identify where we are, and hopefully where we're going. Today is not a day for conflict. Today is a day for conflict resolution. So any kind of new conflicts that you'll face will be fairly easily resolved. This is not the Gordian knot in that bit of card art there. You can see exactly what I mean. Right behind the sword there's the Gordian knot. The one no one's been able to untangle. Today is your day to untangle that Gordian knot in your life. Then we've got Judgment in reverse. Usually Judgment is about emergence. Does it seem like we're getting a couple different, how can I put that? Couple different conflicting messages there. Looks a little like the Ace of Swords there is kind of peeking through. But what's going on, you have you got a little bit of a lack of self-awareness going on. The only real failure here is in repeated mistakes. If you make a mistake, that's one thing. Just don't repeat it. But the Judgment in reverse is you keeping yourself down a lot. That's not a good position to be in. Especially when you're being told to see through the situation itself. Look a little past it, think a few more steps down the road. How do you do that? Well, right here in the Enchanted Map, we've got a few things. Got Cleaning House. Honestly, I think this card's a little literal. You know, it's kind of strange because sometimes when you do that deep clean of just your space, whatever it is, wherever your little inner sanctum is, when you do that deep clean of it, sometimes you're sitting there and you're looking at it and you're sitting back and you're relaxing and you're like, yeah, stress doesn't really come into the picture, does it? But when it's completely cluttered and it's a disaster and it's disorganized and you can't find anything, boy, that can contribute to some stress, can't it? I know it does for me. So, maybe clean house. Cleaning house can also get rid of a lot of mental clutter. So if you're having problems with organizing your thoughts, well, that could be a little bit of a problem. It's time to do that because it leads to the next thing. That field of dreams here. See, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are always engaging a vast field of pure potential. Have you ever seen the movie? Because it's about a farmer who grows crops. And he keeps hearing this voice say, if you build it, they will come. He has no idea what the hell that means. It takes him a minute, but he finally figures it out. And when he figures it out, everybody thinks he's gone crazy. He's mowing down his crops. He's converting an entire area of his crop field into a baseball diamond. And then through the field start coming these legendary old baseball players. And the whole time he's educating his kid on some old baseball stuff. But even then, there's a huge payoff at the end you want to stick around for. So right there in your mind, get your head together, get it organized. However you got to do it, whether it's physically cleaning the house or just mentally cleaning or both. Then your thoughts are just this fertile field where you can just start planting. And here's the thing, because Ghostlands came up, and you can learn from your past. You can imagine a very beautiful future. But for that, you have to live in the here and now. So if the here and now is feeling a little constrictive, if it's feeling a little oppressive right now, the end result is always going to be that butterfly. You will eventually emerge. It's going to happen even today. Unless you fight it. Unless you fight it to the point of your detriment, then it probably won't happen. Again, you have all the agency in this. Finally, we have Awaz, or Ivaz, Avaz, and Berkano. Let's start with Ivaz here. The yew tree. The yew tree is valuable and flexible. Why? Or valuable, why? Because it's flexible. The best bows were made from yew wood. Now there was a process to that. Trying to do it indoors, that's going to be pretty dangerous. But once those bows were created, they were some of the strongest and most flexible bows you've ever seen. They had to be pretty durable as well. So that's something to remember. That which doesn't bend eventually breaks. If you're not flexible, you're going to end up very broken. And then there's Manaz, the horse. Movement. The important thing to remember, don't get stuck, keep moving. And finally, pointing right back at that butterfly, Berkano, the birch tree, or the seed from which the birch tree grows. And it is all about growth. It's about growth and expanding who you are today. Who you are and what you are. I came across a video on YouTube by RPG on the RPG Elite channel yesterday. Pointed out the importance of what you see is what you get. And that's the way you should be. Very self-evident. What you don't know, learn. Anything you can do to contribute to your growth today, do it. But most importantly, live in the here and now. Stop pining for the past, and stop trying to fuck the future. Because here and now is what you have. It's fine to think a few steps down the road, but you have to understand that you are planting those seeds now. So plant them. And remember to take care of them. Interesting how every little scene in this movie all just ties it all together. We seem to be getting conflicting messages here, and then Ghostland's cleared it up. So I hope that helps. In any case, I gotta get out of here. Thank you for having your morning tea with me, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. Wherever you are in the world, you are always welcome here. Just remember, I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. Always do what lights you up, and as always, well, one more message. With always doing what lights you up, remember that your love for that one thing, your love for that thing that lights you up, should overcome all else. Even those that try to come in and destroy it. Once you realize that what you love is indestructible, it doesn't matter whether that person comes in or not. It doesn't matter whether they try to demoralize you or not. Their biggest threat is the person who is so full of love for that thing that they can't be demoralized. So always do what lights you up. And as always, shine on.